Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in my lap, in my white, doing what I do for you. Ooh, I got some good stuff coming. I'm piggyback off the last lesson. We about to get a brief history of our ancient Egyptians. When I started out, I didn't think this was important. I think it is now, so I'm gonna give it to you. Let's go. Right as a 25 rules live by. Get comfortable, get ready. It's gonna be a minute. All right. 25 rules live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. Message and story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. The numbers is good. Let's do what we do. I got something good for you. Right Thinker's mission. That's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment, becoming conscious, knowing thyself. Right Thinker's way of life, and that's what it is. Through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide, to your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission, and that's what I'm on, is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal should be to know thyself. Let's work together. They say both hands, two hands washes the other, both hands wash the face. We work together, you get the end result, which is to know thyself. My mission and your goal, we can work it, make it happen. Let's do it. So I ask, do you know you? It's a rhetorical question or answer rhetorical, but if you don't have it for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be a person who knows not and knows that they know not. Okay? They're simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here too. Wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers. Know thyself. And always, to my yacht, be true. I just gave you a little breakdown about the religion and culture. Now I'm gonna give it to you a brief history, right, thinkers? Let's talk about the brief history of ancient Egyptians. The history of Egypt begins when, in the far reaches of time. Ancient. See, ancient means a long time. Okay, not no, a long time. Understand that? So, it includes what they call the dynastic period. I gave a breakdown before, but this I think is a little more in depth. I'm gonna take you through each one. All right. So when it populated and controlled, the dynastic period, when it was populated and controlled by its original African inhabitants, and later, watch this, by those 80 Asiatic people, invaders. Okay, if you're not an Egyptian and you came in, you're an invader, not a visitor. No, you came in to conquer. You're an invader. Watch this. It started with the Asiatic people. Watch this. That conquered. Here we go. And including the Greeks. After we enlightened and educated them, they came back and conquered us. They called that part with the Hellenistic period. And then you got your boys, the Romans. Okay, now the story goes the Romans period came in, but the Romans came in. You know how they got in control? By might. They wasn't too smart. They didn't care about philosophy. They knew if they could come in and kick your doors in and control you, they can teach you now. And the book that y'all call the Bible, the Romans wrote that book. The Book of the Dead come from our ancient Egyptian ancestors. Okay, so I'm not arguing about nothing. I'm just trying to give you information about something. That's all. I'm moving on. I can't keep going back with that. But my point is, we was invaded by the Greeks, the Romans, and the Christian Byzantine rule, which started at 30 BCE and went on to 638 ACE. When you start hearing the ACE, that means we went from Ancient Egyptian concept with the clock going backwards, counting down to start counting forward. ACE, okay, after the Christian era. Okay, now you got the caliphate. Caliphates, what caliphate was, god damn it. I looked that word up because I want to know what that was. Okay, it's spelled CALIPHATE. Caliphate, caliphate. I just looked it up. I had it right here. I'm gonna punch it up. But that's Caliphate right here. Where you at? Right there. Okay. Where's the word? Come on, help me out with it. Where that? Where that? Okay, what's that? Come on now. Stop the nonsense. There you go. Caliphate. Caliphate, excuse me. I know it's up. But those are Muslims. I didn't know that. That's Islam. Okay. Y'all came around and with the caliphates and the Mamelukes at 642 to the 1517 ACE. Y'all been around a long time. I'm just saying. And you ever heard of the Ottoman denomination? Okay. They came in around 1082. They hung around for 800 years to 1882 ACE. Then you got the British colonists. They came around 1882. And guess what? They were there till 1952. All these people still running Egypt. What's this? As well as what? Modern Arab, Islamic Egypt. 1952. Y'all came in and y'all there to this day right now. Ancient Egypt, or Kemet, was a civilization, watch this, that flourished in the northeast Africa along the Nile River from before, listen, 55 BCE. Let it sink in. Let it marinate, as my man say. Ponder that. 55 BCE, we have been keeping records and keeping track of how and what we did. And then in other records, we got Hebrew Israelites, slaves building the pyramids. Or Moses having the Exodus and the Pharaoh army getting drowned. I'm just saying, I'm giving you the breakdown. We right here, okay? Now, next one is ancient Egypt, again, since before 55 BC until, watch this, we went from 55 BCE to 30 BCE when the Christians took over, okay? Byzantine, the Romans, the Catholics, that's when the Bible was instituted. Watch this. And in 30 BCE, Octavian, you know who that is? Who was later known as the Roman Emperor. Augustus. August, he put the damn 2 more months in the calendar for him and his jealous ass egoistic buddy. Okay, so this is all people in power changing things to make it, again, their way. Put the last Egyptian king with the Ptolemy the 14th, a Greek ruler. Okay, so at that time we wasn't even ran by Greeks. Okay, we was running by Greeks at that time when the Christians came in and took over. He killed them, right? When he put them to death. Now after this, what happened? Egypt was formally annexed out to who? Rome. They in Rome calling shots in Egypt. Well, they do the same thing in the White House. He calls shots across the country, but that's what their concept. He running Egypt now, okay, from Rome. Watch this. Now throw in the late 20th century, evidence, watch this. Here you go. Evidence, not suspicions, not, no, evidence was uncovered, what? That proved, ancient Egyptian civilization existed. Hello. Boy, I couldn't wait to get here. When I talked to Meta AI, I questioned the Christian biblical concepts. Only thing he could answer, never answer yes or no, is that according to the biblical scholars and only according to Christian, no. You can't use the Bible to substantiate or disprove the Bible. That don't make no sense. Well, the people in the Bible exist because the Bible says so. Do anybody else say so? If you got one person, and nobody's saying the same thing, that one person could be wrong. I'm just saying, but that's the concept. Moving on. Now, where we at down here? Remember, now you got Rome running Egypt. Up into the 20th century, And watch this. But we have proof, like I said, my people, Egyptians, existed. The biblical people, you have no grave sites, you got no bodies, no remains, no bones. We know that the damn dinosaurs existed. Why? We got fossil bones. Okay? Millions of years. You tell me we can't find a bone for 2,000 years ago. Oh, you just gotta believe. My bad. Let's go. I'm tired. Let me get back to my lesson. I'm running my time with that nonsense. I got some good stuff I want you to understand. And why is this? We got proof that they existed. End of discussion. And this is important because I tell you about the Bible. They use our existence to justify theirs. No, it don't work that way. I'm just saying. Don't piggyback off of us. Well, we had to leave Egypt. No, you didn't. We don't do slaves. Okay? Again, now, and back at least as far back as, watch this, 7,000 BCE. We got evidence of Egyptian existence. To 10,000 BCE, mainstream Egyptologists normally divide ancient Egypt history into the following approximate periods. They had evidence. The early dynastic period, you ready? And this is, again, Crocker, because I know, 32 BCE to 2575. Okay, that's considered the dynastic period. Okay. We just told you we got 5,000 evidence from 7,000 BCE. We've been practicing Mayat since 5,000 BCE. So why are we starting at 32? Because that's when the Ptolemies came and took over and started giving the world our information as theirs. Quick lessons. I got to interject every now and then. I'm teaching, okay, not preaching. I'm giving information. You can take it or leave it, but I'm giving information, and it's the truth. Let's go. We got evidence. Okay, where I'm at. Now, the mainstream, okay, they called that out. So now, from the first dynastic period, they called from 32 to 2575 BCE. Then you got the Old Kingdom, or the Old Empire. That starts at 2575 to 2134. It lasted a little while. Okay, then you got the first intermediate period, which starts at 2134, all the way down to 2040 BCE. Then you got the Middle Kingdom, or the Middle Empire. This starts at 2040 BCE down to 16. Here we come. We getting there. Now, up until this point, you ain't heard nothing about no Jew. Watch this. Now, we down to 16. The second intermediate period starts at 1640 down to 1532. Now you got the New Kingdom, or the New Empire, from 1532 to 1070. The third intermediate period starts at 1070 to 700 BCE. That's the late period, and from 712 BCE to 332 BCE, in the late period, the following groups, you listen to this, controlled Egypt. You ready? This is how many people came in and used and abused us, but let us practice our religion. That's how good it was. Okay, what's this? The Nubian dynasty, they came in at 712. This is what they want you, this is their side, to 65 BCE. And then we got hit by, you remember the Persians? When the Spartans, that's them, Darius the Great, Xerxes, that's them, they came in, dynasty 525 to 404, right around that time. So them stories pretty much fall chronologically in line. Two different people, two different places, but Egypt confirms they're both constants. Why? We know the Spartans had existence, and we know the Persians had existence. And the connection is the Egyptians. Moving on. So the native revolt, watch this, the native revolt and re-establishment, because we as a people got tired of being controlled by outside forces, and we had to revolt. Hence, civil war. Sound familiar? We about to have one now. Why? When you got two group of people living in the same place and can't get along, it's about to go down. Simple as that. When you don't have respect for the other person, when you believe that you should be in control and the other person be the same thing, two ignorant people, there's going to be a clash. Simple as that. Black and white, blue and green, don't make a difference about the color, but we have differences in what? Belief system. That's a major problem. if we was intelligent enough to understand you can believe what you want, he can believe what he want, practice what he want. As long as we respect one another, we don't have a problem. But no, we want to tell you how to preach, who to believe and what God you should follow. It don't work. Moving on. So watch this. We had a native revolt. Why? Because we had to reestablish our Egyptian rule by Egyptians. So in 404 to 343 BCE, we got back in control. And guess what? The Persians came back again at 343 and slapped us around to 332. When what? Who came in then? What's this? The Ptolemies, or the Greeks period, they wrote it from 332 to 30 BCE. That's when, you ready? The Romans came in, and the Bible was created, and they decided they're gonna tell everybody what religion to follow and what God they should follow. That's when it started, and the Roman period started at 30 BCE, and it lasted to 395 ACE. They brought in this century with that nonsense. Excuse me, but you got the Byzantine period started at 395 ACE to 640. Okay, they took over and they ran it for 400 years. And what happened? Now you got remember these guys, the Arabs? Okay, the Moors, whatever you want to call them. But what's this? You got the Arab conquest period. They came around where? In 640 ACE. And how long they been around? They still there. The individual dynasties are numbered generally in Roman numerals. Why is that? Because they the one who wrote the book. If we had to keep following this nonsense of what they write, right here, it said Roman numerals from now. I don't know if this is a 1 or an I through the XXX. What, you doing porn? Triple X? That's the Roman numeral. So I never liked them damn things. Okay, so that's their way of hieroglyphics. Okay, but that's their little. They was not too smart, so they just made stuff X and he wasn't too smart. How about that? They wasn't the educated ones, and so they get to write the book that y'all follow today. I'm just telling you. Moving on. I see the clock. Let me get this. I got a whole list of stuff to read out. Now, this is information that I didn't think was pertinent back when I was first going through it. I didn't want to know about that, but now I realize it's important information. So that you can't get this in college. They're not going to teach you this. You only can get this here from me. I got you. So let's go. Now, the period after the New Kingdom saw greatness in culture and architecture under the rulership of who? Remember him? Ramses II. He was the pharaoh supposedly during the time of Moses. They supposed to grow up together. Oh, y'all got the story. One story says him and Ramses grew up together and they were like brothers. The other story said that he grew up under Ramses' daughter, who got him out the water. All those stories, okay? Normal, understand. But the point is they never tell you the name of that pharaoh. The tidbit. Anybody can find the name of the pharaoh that the Bible claimed that Moses was up against when you put your God Yahweh up against the Egyptian gods and you took your 10 smites and yeah, we all know the story. But y'all the only one who tell that story. Moving on. If one guy tell you how okay, perfect example. I talked to my son about some of his guys he went to school with. Everybody who went to high school 20 years after that, oh, you was the man in high school. So that's the fish story. Everybody what? Put 20 on 10, stretch it out, make myself look good. That's the problem, okay? Everybody, exaggerates. So that's the concept. So moving on, where was that here? Now you got, however, the history which have been classified above, okay, is only the history of who? The dynastic period, and it reflects the view of traditional Egyptologists who have refused to accept what? The evidence of the pre-dynastic period in ancient Egyptian history that's contained in our ancient Egyptian documents such as the Palermo stone, the royal tablets, and Abydos. That's where the body's supposed to have fell in and grew into the tree of Saul's body. Okay, that's why his body is built. They have a part of his body buried there. Okay, since it was cut up 14 pieces, they distributed his body parts in different places. That's one of the places, Abydos. Okay, now that's all royal papyrus. You got Turin, and you got dynastic list from the pharaoh Manetho. We have in stone written, laid out document, and they still don't want to acknowledge it. Why is that? They want to tell their story their way. Why? Because I told you when they sent them over there back in the 60s, Egyptology, we the only person, only group of people to have a study of Egyptology by somebody else, not from us. How you gonna study us and don't use us? Moving on. Like to having the Bible. You tell the Bible story, but the only place is in the Bible. Just saying. So we have information, and you have what? Eyewitness accounts from what's this? Now it's authentic. Why? Because you got a Greek historian, Herodotus, from 484 to 425 BCE, and Diodorus. These are white scholars who, because they wrote about it, it's okay. These sources speak clearly of a pre-dynastic society which stretches far into what? Antiquity, meaning a long time before then. Meaning the dynastic period is what most people think of whenever they hear ancient Egypt is mentioned, the name Egypt. Why? This period is when the famous, you ready? Pharaohs, kings, and queens ruled. Now, the latter part of the dynastic period is when, you ready? Here we go. The biblical story of Moses, Joseph, and Abraham, etc. now is supposed to have occurred, watch this, around 1100 circa BCE. We done went from 5,000 to 16 down to 1100 before the Christian biblical concepts was brought into, watch this. Yet there is, watch this, it's supposed to happen around 100 BCE, but watch this. Here's the kicker. Yet there is no evidence. Earlier, we have evidence that they don't want to acknowledge, but we have no evidence of the biblical story, but yet they acknowledge that and take it as if it's law. I'm just saying, there is no evidence to their historical existence of such personalities ever in Egypt. Egypt is called the library in stone. Why? We kept track, we documented. And the reason why we were the last of the great civilization. Why? Because we wrote everything down. We had our ancestors before us had Alexandria library with the papyrus. Your boy came and burned it down. So we'll never get that information back. We'll never get that knowledge. So that's their way of what? Stopping and starting their own. This is what they're telling you. I've been learning this, I've been understanding this, and they've been doing it. They ain't stopped yet. They're still doing it. So only watch this. No records of this people in Egypt, but only the statements, watch this, in the Judean Christian tradition. So therefore, those with a Christian background generally only have an idea about ancient Egypt from a negative aspect because they claim that we had y'all enslaved. Y'all had to leave. So y'all got no love for the Egyptians according to y'all story, which is only y'all story. And watch this. They only know about ancient Egypt, and it is related to what? Only in the Bible. Due to the evidence uncovered in the late 20th century, it is now widely accepted, even by mainstream Egyptologists, what? That tradition based on the old Jewish Bible, recounting about how the Jews were used for forced labor and the construction of the great monuments of Egypt, such as the Great Pyramids, is what? It's been proven to be impossible since these were what? Created in the pre-dynastic age thousands of years before Abraham. Like Dr. Ben told you, the workers who did the construction and who were not slaves, but what? Ordinary ancient Egyptians and not even Jews. Although this such biblical statement and accounts are what? Impossible, as they could not coincide, or they do not coincide with what? The variability, the ver- verifiable, the verifiable history of ancient Egypt. It ain't written nowhere, nowhere. And the significant impact of the ancient Egypt on Hebrew and the Christian culture is evident even from the biblical scriptures as what? An example of religious myth and philosophy, and also as a rival for what? The hearts and minds of the people. They want to use us as being the bad guy to supplement their God came and saved them and left them, took them in wandering 40 years. And that's we all know the story. That's all it is a story. Did it really happen? That's the question y'all should have asked a long time ago. Moving on. Including, watch this, those of Asia Minor, even Europe, especially in damn Greeks, and to the Far East, especially India. Again, they took everything also, but they at least kept it, so they will say, yeah, we got this from them. No problem. But actually, Egypt existed, what, much earlier than most traditional Egyptologists are prepared to even admit. Why? What's the sorry about that. I get a little caught up. But the new archaeological evidence, related to the Great Sphinx monument on the Giza Plateau. I went around my neck. Watch this. And the ancient writings by Manetho, one of the last high priests of ancient Egypt, a real person, show that ancient Egyptian history begins earlier than, you ready? 10,000 BCE and may date back to as early as, you ready? 30,000 to 50,000 BCE. Why? We done seen the damn horse, the zodiac go around a few times. We're in the age of Aquarius, and the zodiac is, I'm ahead of myself. I got one more end up. I'm about to put that to the test right now to show you how long we've been around. Watch this. Now, it's known that the pharaonic royal calendar based on the solstice system, which is star Sirius, was in use when 4240 BCE, and this certainly required what? Extensive astronomical skills and time for what? The observation to have all this understanding in order to develop the theory. And then extrapolate what? Mathematical and prove it prove it correct by how? Observing it again. You see it? You understand it? You go back, see it again. Now, okay, I got it. That's how you learn. And watch this. So therefore, the history of Kemet, Egypt, must be reckoned to be extremely ancient. Again, old, long time. Thus, in order to grasp the antiquity of ancient Egypt culture, religion, and their philosophy, what? We will briefly review the history, what? Presented by the ancient Egyptian priest Manetho and some Greek historians to make it authentic. Him doing it means nothing, but you got the Greek philosopher. Okay, it's okay. So let me wrap this right quick. I'm about to wrap it up. Appreciate you, but I got a little more time. I got you. I know. I'm hoping this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Let's go. Now, the calendar based on the great year, watch this, here we go. I've been wanting to get to this, was also used by ancient Egyptians. They claimed that the Mayans was, man, shut up. The ancient Egyptians, they had the great year and it's based on what? The movement of the earth through the what? The constellations, which is the 12 houses of the zodiac, known today as Zodiac. Again, this is what I do. I prepare for this. Now, through a movement cycle referred to what? The precession, the earth of the equator, equinox, and it confirmed what? By the history given by the ancient Egyptian priest Manetho in the year, you ready? 241 BCE. Watch this. Now, each great year has 25,860 years to 25,920 years. And it has 12 arcs of constellations. And each passage through the constellation, each passage through the constellation takes what? 2,155 years. We just left the what? The Pisces constellation, which everything was mysterious in this Christ consciousness that y'all merely misinterpreted, been around for 2,100 years. And guess what? We left it. It go from 2,155 to 2160, count the leap year, I guess. Okay, now that's a fact. These are the great months, and the current cycle of years began around the year, you ready? 10,858 BCE. They've been tracking the astrological concept of the zodiac and the stars and movement. They've been doing this for a long time. Watch this. And watch this. At around the year 36,766 BCE, according to the high priest Menethos, he had the information. He's telling you about it. And you got the creator, which is Ra, who ruled the earth, according to them, in person. They say the gods lived, walked the earth. Another lesson, but that's not here there. But they said God ran from his throne in ancient Egyptian city called Anu, which we call the first place, the first time. I'm just saying, by this reckoning, what? At the time of this writing, our current year was 2008 ACE. What? 14 years ago? 16 years ago? Watch this. Is now actually the year should be, you ready? 3,800, 774, based on the great year system of our ancient Egyptian history. We should be in the year 38,000. That's information that we can prove. You can't give me substantial information for 2,000? Come on, man, don't play with me with that. Understand that I know what I'm talking about. I do my homework. I put in my time to study and understand what it is I'm doing and giving to you. Trust me on that. In the lesson, I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, I'll be back. In the closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100 and me 100 minus a day. So I never know that nice right thinker like you have passed away. I got some more lessons coming for you right now. I got to go.